Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Rena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started. All right. Welcome back to the closet, Dad. I am happy to say you're back by popular demand.
In the closet.
In the closet.
Where I deserve to be.
No, I had a bunch of clients after the last one just go, oh man, I feel like we just got the tip of the iceberg of your dad. We need to have him back. And so
they were just afraid I would die before at my age. They're like, get this guy back fast. He's on his way out.
Got to hear from him now before he's gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got a few topics that I wanted to throw at you today and get your opinion on. And these are things that, again, after the last one, listeners were like, well, you ask him about this and ask him about that. So I just kind of put them together and we'll get through what we can get through. And then you may just have to come back again. So.
Okay. So, I always love coming here.
Yeah, exactly. So first one is I wanted to get, again, you've been in the field a long time. Mm-hmm. You've done and tried a lot of things. And so I
failed at a lot of things.
I wanted to get your thoughts on some of your favorite marketing ideas.
Okay. So remember, I'm 71.
Yes.
So initially the marketing was Telegraph and Pony Express. Really difficult. Really, really difficult. No, I guess when I started with my uncle, there was probably... He had such a practice that there really back in 77, there wasn't a lot of marketing, period, for any professional.
Yeah.
So after he fired me and I was out on my own, then I realized it's a small town, 10,000 people, but they wouldn't tell anyone where I'd gone to. They would call the office and they'd say, what happened to Dr. Jones? We don't have a clue. We don't know where he is. And I'm a mile away. So back then, the only avenue we had was Yellow Pages.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow Pages.
Wow.
Your younger audience will have to look it up. What's a yellow page?
Yellow page?
Yeah. And there were so many restrictions back then. I can remember my first Yellow Page ad. The board slapped me on my hands because my name was larger than the name General Dentistry. And they were just offended. So you guys today are just it's the Wild Wild West and you can really do anything. But back then it was scary because you thought they were going to take away your license if you...
Wow, that's really interesting to see how far it's come.
Oh, yeah. And I think the attorneys really broke that mold that you professionals don't advertise. And I think they really changed that. But then and now, still the best is just word of mouth. Mm-hmm. But it's really the cheapest, the greatest return on your investment.
Yeah.
Just treat people right. Do the best that you can. Mm-hmm. You may not be as good as the guy down the street, but the challenge is do the best that you can. Mm-hmm. But treat people with love and respect and care and concern. And they'll forgive you for a lot of crap. And they'll come back and they'll invite their friends.
That's so true.
But there's some other things that we've done, even when we were in practice together. We did a lot of community involvement things. Mm-hmm. There are, as you know, 2 colleges in our town, Ouachita Baptist University and Henderson State University, and both of them had like freshman orientation, or maybe it was for the entire school. But we would go and set up a booth and hand out business cards and toothbrushes and toothpaste, and just tell them, if you have an emergency, we know we're not going to be your primary guy because you have a dentist back home, but if we can be of help. So it was really more giving than we were receiving. We knew we'd probably never get a return on that.
But at the same time, it was visibility at 2 colleges.
Right.
You know, so visibility with the professors who
do
live in town.
There are staff people there that think, well, gosh, they're supporting us.
Yeah.
Then the Chamber of Commerce always seems to have events that wherever you guys are located, just look at their calendar events and ask yourself, is there any way I can help with that? And that will get your name among the movers and the shakers in your community.
And again, it's the conversations that happen when you're there, maybe even with other businesses that may be at the same event, but it's building this network of people that know you and you know them. And those are resources that even in your small town that you lean on when needed. So
because really it's all about relationships, just developing those. We've done things like sponsoring sports events. We would be, we would sponsor a team, and that's a great way to network or meet with people that you probably would never know. But you're saying, hey, I want to support your kids, and that means a whole lot.
Yeah.
If you remember when we were together, I would write articles. We had a small, it's changed now, but you can probably flip this. We had a small newspaper, and I would write articles each week, just educational, and the people still really seem to like that. It's just kind of drip marketing. You're just putting your name wherever you can.
In multiple places. The way I call it is don't put all your eggs in one basket.
No.
Spread it out really big and broad. And I remember when we made the decision with the newspaper to run those articles, we paid for them. Nobody knew that we paid for them because it just looked like editorial content. But that was by design. We didn't want it to feel like marketing because we knew people would eventually gloss over that.
Right.
And we didn't want that to become what they did. And so just every week, I think it was a weekly article that you would write on various subject matters. And
I think we did that probably for a couple of years. And then it reaches a point where I don't know if there's a less of a return on your investment or you just get tired of doing it.
I got another article due.
Yeah. So someone did that, and now you would probably suggest that online, right? Somehow.
Yeah. I one of the things that I love about it is it positioned you as the expert in the community.
Right.
And so it's, thankfully, at the time, we were in a small town with a great newspaper that was well read, and it was really inexpensive to do that. So it's just a no-brainer. But now I think we've got to position ourselves that way in an electronic format, whether that's, videos, educational videos that, a doctor and team are putting out, or whether that's a blog. A lot of offices will do blogs. And again, you think, gosh, nobody's really going to read it. But over time, to your point, it's just little drips here and there that build up over time. So I think it's electronically very smart to do that.
The idea, just different baskets, lots of different baskets. Some will not cost you a lot, some will cost you more, but you want just an average of those. Another thing that we did, and you reminded me of this, is we did a Who Am I series on social media, and we highlighted each of our staff members and kind of their personal life. Not so much where someone could stalk them and find out where they live, and but just...
Their interests.
Right. So when someone would come in, someone would knew if they'd watched this series, they would kind of have a connection already with some of us.
Yeah. And again, you would think social media, who's really going to be interested in that? But it was very well followed on your social media. And I think up until
that was in the early days.
That was in the early days of social media. Yeah. And we had just kind of done dental focused stuff and realized we weren't getting a lot of traction with that. And then I think it was you that came up with the idea of doing these.
No, I don't know. I don't know who came up with it.
It worked.
Yeah.
It kind of blew up your social media, following. People wanted to see what was going to be happening next.
Yeah.
So
then now, some of the things that we do, every month we give away a basket.
Yes, okay.
So it's a basket giveaway. It's about $100. And so we have 12, counting me, 12 staff members. So each of us have taken a month. And so when it's your month, you design the basket. The office pays for everything, but you design the theme and everything. And then the patients, every appointment they have during that month, they get to put their name in the drawing.
Oh, nice.
So whether it's hygiene or dental side. Then the big kicker that we push is if you refer a friend, we'll put your name in 5 times.
Oh,
so that's kind
nice.
And so the basket is always on display, and I've been we only started this in January, but I've been impressed with the ingenuity and the creativity of our team. Yeah.
Well, and the team probably enjoys that because, again, they're putting together...
They're getting involved. Yeah, this is my idea.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to go home with my idea.
Well, and that gets them motivated to share about it because, half the battle with, internal marketing like that is, well, my team just won't talk about it. But if they've had a hand in that... they're going to be much more likely to go, make sure you get your name in the basket. And, hey, if you refer, you get your name in 5 times. So they're going to be more excited excited to share.
Yeah, we've tried this in the past, and I don't know why it's working so well this time. I think it's because, to your point, we have some staff members that are excited about it. So it keeps that, I think a lot of times in dentistry, the dentist comes up with a great idea and says, this is going to be it, and you're out in front pushing this, and there's nobody behind you. You're like, well, okay, fine. Because I've had some great ideas, I thought. But no one else thought it was a great idea.
You got to get that subliminal, put osmosis speakers in there so they're sleeping and hearing this idea at night. It becomes their idea.
Yeah. It's yours. Let's see. What are some other things that we do? We still do postcards.
Okay. Yeah.
We still do postcards.
Talk about postcards, because I feel like this is something that comes up a lot with practices. I'm still a fan of postcards. I know there's been kind of an ebb and flow to it. I can remember, 5 years ago, where every office was sending out postcards. So I might come home to my mailbox to 10 of those. And so it was like, oh, we're just wasting money. But I've been a consistent fan of postcards because it is the most direct visibility that you can get. It's one of those, to your point earlier, costlier items.
Oh, yeah.
But talk about how you feel like that works in your practice.
Well, I think it gives you another word of mouth, and people are going to talk about you, good or bad. But get another dang postcard. How many of these have I had? But I really still like it because we often think, do we need to keep doing this? And some months we'll just not do it just to see what happens. And I believe that I can see a lull in new patients. So I'm really still sold on it. So we'll do things like on every postcard, there's always a new patient special, and there's a fee for there, and it's pretty inexpensive. There's usually the refer a friend campaign going on there.
Awesome.
Then we'll change it up. Sometimes we'll do a patient appreciation week, and it might be $100 off a crown or 15% off.
Oh, gotcha.
Or your restorative needs. There might be an Invisalign incentive. So
kind of vary it a little bit.
Yeah, we change it up. So and sometimes it'll be a staff picture on there. Sometimes it'll be a stock photo on there. So I still like that.
And you do that monthly.
Monthly. And
so the way that I like that strategy, because you are doing it monthly, but you're keeping it interesting by changing up the offers, changing up the pictures.
Yeah.
It's visual enough that people are staying interested in it.
And I think the way that we do it, I don't know how this would work in your larger metropolitan areas, but in our area, we can divide up the zip codes. So we send them out every month, but one area, it may be 2 months before we get back to that area because we have so many different zones.
From. Yeah.
Now, something that I really liked, one of my really great ideas, is we bought these little Ziploc bags, had our name put on them, and then I put, I think, a little educational piece, a business card, a refer a friend card, a toothbrush, toothpaste, and lip balm. And then we would pick out a business each week and take and deliver those to the business, trying to reach the business.
I love business marketing.
Yeah.
It really is. You don't think of it at the time because you're thinking, how is that really going to be effective? But it goes back to that presence in the community, the repeat exposure that they have, so that when they do have a need that comes up or they hear a coworker talking, it just, what was that? Who's that? Dr. Jones and his team. Okay, yeah. So it just is that repetitive marketing.
I think in one of those packets we also put magnets, so that if they wanted to keep our number on the phone,
I love magnets.
On the refrigerator, that was really good. So I like that, and the girls at the office like taking them to the businesses. So we would. Yeah. So I think as far as marketing, it's just being creative and not being afraid to try something.
Exactly. And to try something consistently enough.
Yeah.
I think, that's one of the mistakes that people make is they go, let me try this one direct mail campaign, and I'm going to do that, 2 months. And then they don't see the results that they're looking for. They're going, that didn't work. So now let me hop on to the next thing. So my advice to people is always try something for at least 6 months, if not a year.
Yeah.
Because you really can't spot a trend in 2 months.
No.
It's next to impossible.
Yeah. I would say commit to a year. Because let's say you do it for 2 months, and then 2 months later you have a spike, and you're wondering, where did that come from? You've already forgotten about the 2 months ago that you spent money.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay in it long enough to determine, hey, is this working for me or not?
Yeah. And you've mentioned several categories that I think when I kind of mention a very diverse marketing plan, it is something direct. So direct mail piece. You could call some SEO marketing direct, meaning you're paying for those visual representations on people's phones or devices. But then the business marketing is one that very few people actually do. And I love it.
And it's fun. Oh my gosh, it's
fun. Yeah, it creates a good community network. Community events, which again, I know that ebbed away for the last couple of years, but from what I'm seeing, at least here in the Metroplex, all community events are fully operational again, and you can get back out and do it. I mean, just do it. Even for our introverted people, get your extroverted team member to go with you and just do it. They can be out front
and go out there,
And then, of course, the internal marketing is huge. I love the idea of your team members kind of owning 1 month of that basket. That hopefully gets them involved and excited about it.
I think so. I think one of the things that you and I talked about that's kind of an indirect marketing is I call the new patients the night before, hygiene and my side. So sometimes that can be, 10 or 15 calls, and you're not going to answer all of them because some people, myself, I'm not going to answer a phone number I don't know. But thankfully, still here in Arkansas, they'll answer. So I think that does a couple of things. I can't tell you how many times I'll say, no one has ever done that for me before.
Exactly.
No doctor has ever called me before. And it's not a big thing. Hey, I'll call, I'll say, hey, this is Randy. I'm your dentist. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Do you have any questions for me? Why are you coming in? And sometimes you'll wow, I opened a can of worms. We're going to get off this phone. But normally it's pretty short, and they're so appreciative. And so I think it just sets you apart that you're doing something different that no one else does. So it gets you talked about. So that's marketing.
It is absolutely the marketing. And one of the most volatile appointments on the schedule is the new patient appointment. You never know whether they're coming because there is no commitment from their part. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They can not show up and they're perfectly fine with it and probably ballsy enough to call again and make another appointment if they fail the first one.
They are.
So I like the idea of that phone call because it creates a little bit of that pressure to just come. And if you think about it, to me, it's 100% connected to marketing because you've paid to have that person call in in your various ways, right? You've spent money on marketing. Now they've called in. Now you get them on the schedule. Well, if they don't come in, it's all wasted. It's all for naught. So to just do that one additional extra step to make sure that they come in, that you've reinvested essentially your marketing dollars with
protecting those dollars that you've invested
with potentially a 5-minute phone call.
Right. And it is, you and I talked about this, the backside of that is, in my mind, I'm thinking they will be less likely to cancel if I'm the one calling them.
Yeah, it just retains them on the schedule. And I would say, use the drive time home. I know you've got about a 45-minute drive home, and so that's a good time to be taking advantage of
even
that.
On a busy day. So on days where I'm doing crown and bridge or surgery, or unless it's just like a simple filling or something like that, I generally call all of those patients too. So if I'm calling people that I've seen that day plus new patients, it's not over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, that's a
great
use of 20 minutes. Yeah.
I mean, that's an investment that is paying dividends.
Particularly if you have some patients that you've performed some dentistry and you're thinking they're going to be hurting tonight, or so it kind of nips it in the bud. Hey, I just want to touch base with you. I know you're going to have some problems tonight. Perfectly normal. We tell them that in the office, but I don't think they hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still coming down off the adrenaline of having
freaked out.
A procedure done. Like, you never told me this.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What? I'm having 14 teeth under the pillow for the tooth fairy tonight.
So true. Yeah, to think that all of that, post-op calls and new patient calls, 20 minutes.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
And I hated it at first. I thought about it for a long time, and I would talk myself out of it that we've done enough. Because there's a little bit of me that could be introverted if I would allow it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it. But now, if you'll just get over that fear, some of the things that we're so afraid to do, really once you do them, you're like, what was the big deal? Now I'm like, what was it with calling these people that was so terrifying,
It's the unknown.
Yeah. What are they going to do?
Exactly.
Hang up on you? Well, okay, fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Shorter phone call.
Yeah.
Well, and really, nobody does get mad about it. It's
No.
not something that people are going to get angry about. I think some of the fear comes from, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
What are they going to ask? Am I prepared for that? Can I? But again, after doing it for however long you've done it now, it's like, there's no big deal. They're just appreciative.
Well, and I think part of it was I didn't want to hear that what I had done that day. Now they're hurting and they're in pain. I was like, oh man.
Because when they left, they were comfortable.
I don't want to face this. We send you home with medication so you won't call me, and now I'm calling you, just opening the door. Yeah, tell me how bad it was.
Yeah.
But most of the time they're very. I think sometimes you will have a problem. Yeah. That you can stop it right now, or so they just feel heard and they feel like you care.
Yeah.
And, I think it just makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I would definitely call that marketing. And if that's what listeners have to do to translate it in their mind to something, then marketing. Put that into the marketing category. Yeah. Yes, it's time. Time is money. But that money or that time is being spent on marketing.
Yeah. And I think you'll find it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially those new patients. Some are just very quiet, very appreciative, and some are just like, oh man, this is the opportunity to tell you my whole life. Let me tell you, this is when I was born. And you're like, oh man.
You're like, and 45 minutes car ride done. I can hardly
wait to not see you tomorrow. If you cancel, it'll be okay.
You'll reassure the team it's fine. We saved ourselves on this one. Okay, good. Those are really good marketing takeaways, and it's good to hear your perspective on.
Yeah, and we've had failures, and again, you just got to stick with it long enough to see if it's. Is it just taking a minute for us to see the return on our investment, or is it really a failure and it's not going to work?
Exactly.
But you got to stay in there.
Give it time. Yeah. And I think just, as I look back over all the years, you've always done something marketing related. So
because it drives me crazy to sit and just wait on someone to show up. Just that passive marketing. I hope to God they show up today. Oh, I can't stand it.
I joke with people all the time. I think the 4 of us kids were marketing billboards for a while. We always had a different dental T-shirt on.
Yeah.
You need a dentist. He's my dad, or something like that. So use your kids.
So if you got kids or a dog or whatever, and then write it off. Marketing.
Write those
kids off. We had 6 kids for marketing purposes.
So good. Okay, that's a good little set of things to think about on marketing.
Yep.
My next thing that I want to ask you about is, tell me what you feel like you've done over the years to show appreciation towards employees, or to encourage them, or just how do you show them? We touched on this slightly last time with employees and the failure that you talked about at the beginning of your practice.
Thanks for bringing it up again. Yeah. I was just about over that.
Just resurface that wound. So tell me about some of the things that you feel like you've done over the years.
So I think one of the things that we do now is every birthday you get flowers, fresh flowers.
Oh, that's nice.
And we have a staff luncheon for you, so we buy lunch for you. I think that's working real well. You've got to be really careful. You've got to be really careful that the flowers are exactly the same size as the one before, because wow,
it can't have
it can get bad. You're like, this is supposed to be good. So I've had to have a conversation with the florist, make sure they are exactly alike every month. But anyway, so that and lunch, and they get to choose where we order lunch.
Okay.
We don't go out; we just order it in. Christmas money, we always give them Christmas money. I think that's something.
Yes.
I like to write little notes.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a stick-it note or in an envelope, just to give them little notes.
Just kind of randomly.
Yeah. No, for no reason.
Yeah.
Verbal thank yous. I try to throughout the day say, hey, thanks. And then at the end of the day, before I leave, I walk through the office. Usually the next pretty close to the last one to leave. But when all the patients are gone, I'll go to the front desk and say, hey, thanks for a great day. I'll go to the hygienist and just tell them, oh, thanks. I don't know if it means anything or not, but
I think it does for sure. I mean,
I feel like they deserve it, and they need to know, hey, I understand it. This couldn't have happened without you.
Exactly. Well, and that you're taking the time to, leave your office, make the rounds, and really it be intentional is what I'm. It's not just like this. Oh, thanks, but you're intentionally making a round to go say, hey, thanks, good day, way to go.
Now, one of our ladies has been with Melissa is our hygiene coordinator, and she coordinates all the hygiene. And she said, my favorite thing that you do is I'll just randomly, for no reason, it's not production based or anything, I'll hand everybody $100 bill.
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah. And it's money well spent.
Oh yeah. So for them, it just says a lot.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't motivated by, oh, hey, we had a great day. It's just
I appreciate you.
Yeah. It could be even a bad day,
Yeah.
Like we're inside, you're wanting to go, come on, team, get it together.
You're thinking, how to make this day better? $100.
So I think it's just a little random.
Yeah.
They're not tied to anything. And another thing that I thought about is just supporting be interested in their families. Mm-hmm. So that might be they have a child that's in sports. Well, can I support their team? Mm-hmm. And I'm supporting them, and at the same time, I'm getting marketing.
Right.
Because my name is going to be on the back of their child's jersey. So, or whether they be in band, just look for opportunities to kind of support their family. Because that's why they're there anyways, to earn a living, to support their family, not to support me.
Exactly.
So if we can get involved that way. So that's intentional too. What's going on in their lives and how
can you be a part of that and support that?
How can I just show appreciation and love for them?
Yeah.
In other areas of their life that they're concerned about.
Right. Well, and I think having that genuine interest too, in their lives.
Right.
It's not just that they're there to, clock in, do a job and go home, but there is a genuine interest there that I think can still be balanced. A lot of practice owners struggle with this balance of being boss, but then also being, connected enough. And I use you as an example a lot because I think you strike that balance well. I think there is a respect for you, but also I think that you have shown genuine interest in them, encouraging them. One of my favorite models of leadership is the servant leadership model. And so gaining their respect by respecting them first and showing that service in little ways,
It's that balance that I guess it is a fine line. Maybe it's not. Would they want to be friends with me outside this office?
Yeah.
And I think that if I feel like we could hang together, they would feel okay with me.
Yeah.
So I kind of, for my practice, that's where I want to be, because so many of my staff members know more. I couldn't do what they do.
Right.
So, prestige-wise, they're right up there with me. I have a certain skill set.
Yep.
Clinical, they have a certain skill set. It takes all of us together. So I know I couldn't do what I do without them.
Yeah.
But it's just think about it. Everybody's different. Your staff members are different, and something will mean something to someone that has someone else. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. So birthdays, Christmas gifts, kind of random acts of little gifts of money.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be $100. It could be a gift card to Sonic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's the thought behind
gas cards right now is a good.
Gas cards are really good. And the verbal thank yous and just the occasional notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are good. Those seem so simple, but sometimes I think we overthink this category.
Yeah.
And it really is that it comes back to that core of, do I genuinely appreciate my team? Do I have the respect of, I couldn't run this practice without them? Do I genuinely appreciate them? Do I show them my respect and appreciation and have an interest in them that goes beyond the practice? And I think those are three really good
Because I think we've all seen I know you have seen practices where you have someone that's very well paid, but they still bail on you. So what was it? Wasn't the money, because a lot of times you'll think staff appreciation is all money, but I think there's that emotional support, that emotional content that we forget. We're all emotional people, and we want to feel love, because we could never pay them what they're really worth to us.
No.
I couldn't pay the ladies at my office what they're really mean to me.
Exactly.
So I have to do that with other ways, like supporting them emotionally. And
one of the things that I enjoy getting to do sometimes for clients is I'll do exit interviews on the back end. So somebody's resigned and they'll say, Bethany, hey, can you see if they'll be open with you about why they're leaving? And I really enjoy that, because it's to me, it's like, oh, what have we been missing in this practice?
Dental detective.
I love it. So I just had one recently, and a lot
of it from my office?
No.
No, okay.
No.
All right.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But one that I was really surprised to see that she had resigned from this practice, just a precious person.
Yeah.
And so I got her on the phone and said, I need you to be brutally honest. And it really came down to appreciation. She said, I don't think anybody ever, she's one of these kind of silent behind the scenes, just work hard, serve others, just a little ray of sunshine. But those people can sometimes get overlooked.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And so nobody in the practice even noticed that she was coming to work 30 minutes early to get everybody set up. The doctor that she assisted with was incredibly busy, and the other doctors had multiple assistants, so she was the only one for this doctor. And she said, I felt like I was always helping everybody else out, but it was not reciprocal. Nobody ever noticed when I was drowning or offered to help or said thank you. She said, I honestly still don't know if anybody knows that I was there early, being the one that was setting up. And so it was just, wow. We could have potentially saved that by just acknowledging and noticing, wow, who set up here? Who got here early? God, thank you so much for doing that. And so it was just the appreciation that she really wanted to feel. She wanted to be seen. Yeah. And we weren't seeing her. So, I think her value. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
so
really valuable to this place, but you don't know it till I'm gone. Yeah.
I know.
Now suffer. I hope you burn.
I know. I tried to say, the door's always open. I thought she's not coming back.
Usually,
Yeah, they're gone.
It's too late. You can't rest. There's too much hurt, because I've tried that in the past where someone, I can't remember now, left. I wanted them back so much, offered money. It's just, there's so much hurt there.
But nothing pays for it.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Well, good. Those are good tips on employee
staff appreciation.
Appreciation and management, all that. So my last question for you is, if you were to kind of rewind time and go back to your early years of owning a practice, so either at the beginning of the start or a couple years in, what would be some of the advice? I have multiple clients that are in those early years stages, or not even open. Several of them not even open yet. What would be your advice for them?
Okay, probably a few areas. One would be, these are all investments that I would make. I would invest in technology. I didn't early, so, really, back in those days, there wasn't a lot of technology. Not a lot of technology. But if I were young today, I would not be afraid to invest in technology. I think maybe we mentioned before, one of the technological advances that I love in our office is the scanner. Saves all that impression material. The patients really like it. I think the end product is better. And yes, it's an investment, but you will use it so much. So I wouldn't be afraid to, whatever field whatever area is your area, invest in that technology. Whether it's root canal, invest in all the root canal, new technology. I would invest in the business. And you and I have talked about this. My favorite business tool out there is Weave for the dental office. Oh my gosh, you just got to start with it. Now, I don't think it's as effective until you have a client base. Because what it does for your members that aren't familiar with Weave, let's say a dad comes back from the back and he's at the front desk checking out, and his family members also are in our office. And when his name pops up to get ready to check out, it also pops up the entire family, and it lets you know right there on your screen, oh, mom hasn't been here in a year. You want to scatter, their feelings that your daughter. So it gives you a whole picture of the whole family right there.
Yes.
Right there.
You don't have to dig at all.
No, you just address it. It's just incredible.
And same thing with incoming phone calls. So incoming phone calls, it populates the name, which has always been one of the hardest hurdles to overcome. That when a patient calls in, you don't know if they're new, if they're existing. You go, oh, the patient says, oh, hey, this is John Smith, and I need to get in for an appointment. And person on the phone's going, I have no clue who John Smith is.
Yeah.
But do I say, have you been to our office before? And now you offend John Smith?
Yeah,
and he's
you don't remember me.
I was just there last week. What are you talking about? And so I love Weave. Even if it only had that function, I would love Weave because of that. Because it pops that patient name up. If it's not a patient in the practice, there is no name associated with it. And automatically,
new patient.
That's a new patient.
Yeah.
And again, it pops up all those family members that go along with it. So
it's incredible.
It's a phenomenal product.
It's just incredible. What was I going to tell you? Anyway, so in dentistry, there's so many people that fall through the cracks. Yeah. They just fall through the cracks. There's how many systems we put in there. We have people that just fall through the crack. With this, they can never fall through the crack because they're right there. I love it. Yeah. So I would do it. I would not be afraid to invest in clinical technology, and I would be involved in Weave from the beginning. In professional growth, I would invest in professional growth. We talked about this before. I would get a mentor, preferably a one-on-one person. But if not, you can mentor vicariously through YouTube. There's a lot of stuff there. Maybe your favorite idol doctor that you follow, maybe you could call him and say, Would you take me on? Would you be my mentor?
Yeah.
I would not be afraid to hire a consultant just to give you a
perspective.
Because we get so narrow and we can't see things. And you guys help us see things that we would never see. So it just saves a lot of pain. And I would always stay involved in education.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places is Gladwell Labs. They have a phenomenal educational library and system, so you might just look them up, Gladwell Labs. I would always invest in personal growth, so books. Some of my favorite, we might talk about this another time, is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life, and Earl Nightingale, Think and Grow Rich. Those are just 3 really good ones. I would always invest in your family life, and I had this thought, especially when you start becoming successful, because then you just want to become more successful, and you start sacrificing. You're like, I'm willing to give up this for more success here. And a lot of times we see it all the time, it's the family that gets sacrificed,
right?
Because you get so much more
satisfaction
and personal reward.
Yeah.
I am a great dentist.
Yeah.
I'm awesome. And sometimes your patients love you more than your family loves you.
Sometimes it's easier to be more successful in the office than at home.
But anyway, watch that, because I was thinking in 1977, I graduated in the spring of 1977, a month before we were getting ready to graduate. I think we had 150 at the University of Tennessee in my graduating class. And they brought us all in and had someone speak to us, and they said, we want to let you know about the profession that you're getting ready to go in. This is 1977, after we're already in debt, 3 and 4 years for loans. They said, we want you to know this year in your profession, you have the highest suicide rate, the highest alcoholism rate, the highest divorce rate, and something with drugs. And we were like, well, great!
Could you have told us that at orientation?
Yeah, I'm either going to kill myself or divorce my wife, or anyway. So, just watch yourself with personal growth, because it can get overwhelming. You're trying to build a career and pay for all this indebtedness, and it's overwhelming. But there's nothing more important than your family.
Yeah.
I think most of the guys that have gone through that divorce, will look back and say, man, I could have done things differently.
Yeah.
Because it just seems, divorce seems to always change even your relationship with your kids. It's just
changes everything.
So I would invest. It's a new dentist. I would invest in your family life. I would invest in your spiritual life. Of course, being a Christian, that's going to be. But there's some guys that you might want to look at on YouTube. I love Dr. David Jeremiah, Andy Stanley, Stephen Furtick, Chris Hodges. These are all guys that we could talk about in the future. Yeah. But just go for it, though.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to.
It's all balance, right? So it's like there's so much you can do to make the business successful, but it's just not worth it if it costs your family, if it costs your spiritual life. If it costs that, then that success isn't worth it.
But that's a hard balance when you're beginning and you're starving, and you're just trying to make ends meet, and you're trying to meet your indebtedness. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is. That's why I think you need a mentor to help you.
Keep you on the right path.
Yeah, they've been there. They have survived. Let me tell you what I've learned.
In hindsight's always 20/20.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's always you can look back.
So somebody that has that hindsight to connect with them,
it might save you from a lot of heartache and mistakes.
Yeah.
Whether personal mistakes or financial mistakes. Yeah.
And just give you a perspective that, I always call it being in the trenches. Yeah. Especially in those early years, you're just in the trenches, just working, fighting. There's so many things that occur in a trench that are just hard. It's a war.
You're in a trench because there's a war all around you.
Yeah. So to have somebody that's up out of that trench that can just see, they're walking, they may be in their own trench, but they can see things differently than you can, kind of stuck down in your hole. So you got to be able to connect with that outside source and get some of those resources.
They can be your hero, that there is life after this war,
The war will end one day. We'll crawl out of that pit, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that's good advice. Thanks for being back with me. And
good, I'll be back.
I'm sure I'll have more questions after people listen to this. So
or not. Like, oh, man.
Keep
that guy in Arkansas. Yeah, we got it. We understand.
Oh, thanks again, Dad.
Love you, babe.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone. But we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.